Lovely. Hello, Julie. Smashing. Hello, Loretta. Well, according to my clock, it's 5 o'clock, so I think that we should make a start. Obviously, people are going to be joining us throughout the time that we are here. So let's make that start. And celebration time, come on, we're gonna have a party. I'm so delighted that you are here for my special day. A very, very special day for me, and actually a very emotional one. The launch of my book, Communicating Through Change. And it is a thrill for me that you are here to share this event. Before we start proper, I just want to give you some housekeeping. You will be off camera and on mute for the meeting. You'll have an opportunity to come off camera and speak to me at the end of the meeting. But during the meeting, if you would write any comments in the chat, and if you have any questions for me and our speakers, please write those in the chat. And it would be great if you would put before that question, because I am blessed to be joined by my colleagues from TEDx Monte Carlo, Nazanin Mateen and Rainer Brunot, and they are my technical whizzes today. And Nazanin particularly is going to be looking at the chat and the questions to refer to me and our speakers during the afternoon. It's afternoon here. I know that it's morning in America. So please write question before you write the question. Direct your chat to everyone, but say who the question is for, and that would be lovely. We are recording this. We are also live on Facebook, so no swearing, please. And otherwise, yes, keep your mics muted, keep off camera as well. And if you put your settings to speaker view, it will be the best to see the main presenters and also me today. So many of you have asked me, why did I write the book Communicating Through Change, and how long did it take me to write it? And I started to write it towards the end of August last year. Last year was a year of tremendous change and uncertainty for all of us. And sadly, a lot of that change and uncertainty is continuing. And I was very, very busy teaching and training, particularly online, my communication skills to help people to be effective on camera and online. And I thought, how can I help people even more to go deeper and to go further and internationally and globally in a bigger way? And I thought that I would write about my experience of change and what I learned from it. And so I wrote that, and I referred that writing to a dear friend of mine here, and she and her daughter and also her husband read that, and they came up with some very constructive points. And it made me realize that I needed help developing on what I had written, because what I had written was very, very personal to me, and that remains. And it was also very raw, expressed my vulnerability and what I had learned, but it needed more structure. So I contacted Sammy Blindell, who is the brand builder. She also happens to be a friend and the daughter of a very dear friend of mine who I actually met when I was doing my articles, training to be a solicitor many, many years ago. So I've known her for a very long time. And I was then speaking to her daughter, who's fabulously successful as the brand builder. And just as I thought, Sammy was immensely helpful to me. She was very generous with her time and her advice. And she said to me, I'm going to refer you to two people. One of whom is a gentleman. He's in America. He's a publisher and an author, and I think he'll be very helpful to you. And I'm going to refer you to a lady, an English lady who lives in France, and I think she will be very helpful to you. And I actually have the feeling that she will be very beneficial, that you're going to have a great connection with her. And so I got in touch with those two people, and I spoke to the gentleman in America, and he was very helpful, very supportive, very generous with his time. And then I spoke to the English lady in France, and Sammy was absolutely right. We clicked. There was a great connection, and she completely got me and understood me. And I then worked with her because she is a professional literary agent. She is a publishing consultant, book manuscript editor, and author coach. She's also an international speaker and writer, retreat leader. And essentially, Wendy York, who we're going to be speaking to very shortly, helped me to find structure for my book. And she then edited my writing so that the book, Communicating Through Change, was actually completed and ready for publishing in less than 3 months. Wendy then introduced me to my publisher, Parul Agrawal, and her publishing company, and I'm just looking down at my notes, it's Serapis Bay Publishing. And it turned out actually that Parul had also worked with some very lovely ladies and friends in Monaco. So there was that synchronicity. And Parul accepted to publish my book on the basis that it would be done very, very quickly, because I believed right from the start that communicating through change needs to be out in the world now, because it is so pertinent and it is so relevant. So she agreed to publish it, and that was in November, and the book has been launched today, January the 19th. So actually, from start to finish, writing the book and having it published and launched today, it's been around 5 months, and even less than 5 months. So it is my belief that this book was truly meant to be. And it has been, and it is being, thanks to Wendy York. Wendy, as I mentioned to you, is an author coach, and she is in this world, she says, to share messages through people's books to help change and improve other people's lives for the better. Now, what I'm hoping is that, Rainer, if you can find Wendy in our audience, because I would really love her. Thank you, Wendy. So super that you are here. Let me express my deep appreciation for your help and support. I truly say that communicating through change would not be here were it not for you and your incredible patience with me, your wonderful editing, and your immense understanding of me right from the start, giving me the courage and the inspiration to express myself and to share not only my experience of change, but to help people communicate then their way through change. Now, I know that you changed my life with your guidance and support for my book, and I believe that you consider that there is power in the written word to change lives for the better, especially in times of uncertainty. Can you speak to us about this?
Thanks so much. I'm very excited to be your first speaker. That's a real privilege. And congratulations on your book being launched today, Alicia. That is such a huge achievement. Well done.
Thank you.
I would like to say to everybody that, of course, Alicia has been a dream writer. So what I do in my small business, which is called Write, Edit, Published, it says what it does on the tin. I take aspiring writers and I help them to become published authors. In many cases, Amazon best-selling published authors. And let's see how the sales go today in the next couple of days. Exactly. Now, Alicia was a dream aspiring writer because she had the three elements that I believe and I know are key to have absolute clarity about before you write your book. And there are people who will disagree with me and who will say, no, I just wanted to flow and creative flow. And there's value in that, of course, too. But if you know what your passion is with clarity, if you know what your purpose is with clarity, and if you know what your presence is with clarity and who you're writing your book for, in my experience, the how of the book, the structure of the book will absolutely flow easily. And this book is one of the best examples I have of that process. So for me, it's an equation. It's an equation of having absolute clarity about what you're writing about, why you're writing about, and who it's for. And then having the ability to open your heart with a connection with your truth. Now, as Alicia said already, she has written into her book her vulnerability, her truth. And what that does is it speaks to the readers' hearts, and the book absolutely resonates with the readers. And that, for me, is where a book is highly successful and has compelling, lasting impact, which is, after all, what we're all looking for. So as you might have picked up, I'm somebody who very much believes that everybody's story counts. Everybody's story can inspire, can motivate, can change other people's lives. Think back to the cavemen who sat around the campfire every night. They didn't have Netflix or alcohol and all the things that we have to celebrate with. They told stories. So the power of the written word is that a story that is written, a book that is written, has a life and it has compelling, lasting impact. The key word here is lasting. It can change this generation, next generation, and the following generation's lives. And that's, I guess, my message for you today. So thank you very much. I'm very delighted to be here and have a chance to speak and give my message to you all.
Thank you so much, Wendy. And if you have questions for Wendy, she will be delighted to take those a little later on this afternoon. And, you know, Wendy mentioned about speaking from the heart. And whenever I felt rather blocked or that I went back to my previous life lawyer mode, Wendy very, very kindly directed me back to my heart. And then everything started to flow again. I'd like to launch a poll question now, and it is a multiple choice answer. Just to ask all of you, what kinds of change have you experienced in your life? So if the poll is on the screen now, you can answer that, please. It's multiple choice answers. It doesn't have to be just one thing. So if you press now and answer one of those questions or all of them. What kinds of change have you experienced in your life? Could be job change, could be change or loss of partner. It could be a parent with dementia. It could be changing location, empty nest, or other changes. Click there now. Are you doing that? I hope you are answering. And thank you for all the chats. You can pick multiple answers. Okay, so all right, can we see the answers? Okay, so let me have a look. So job change comes, oh no, changing location actually. Kinds of change that you've experienced in your life. You've got 84% changing location, 81% job change. Next, it's 43% change of loss or change or loss of partner, and also a parent with dementia, other 32% and 19% empty nest. Thank you so much for your answers on that. And thank you as well. I'm seeing in the chat that people have just bought the book or they're buying it. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much. Keep buying, keep buying. You can download it on Kindle as well. Very interesting that the answers to that poll, because in my book, Communicating Through Change, you will find that I write about a lot of those changes through bereavement, changes through changing location, changing jobs, careers, and I'll talk about that a little later. So thank you to everyone who is writing in the chat that you have just bought it all over the world. I really, really appreciate it. Now, our next speaker has been a chef for over 40 years. His cooking life has been one of constant change: recipes, products, people, and venues. And then 3 years ago, one single change altered his recipe for life forever. I am so delighted to welcome Chef Brian, my brother-in-law, from his home in Hampden, Maine. Brian, it's so wonderful to see you, and to see you in the kitchen of your home, where I have shared so many happy times with you and so many wonderful meals. Brian, what changed in your recipe for life, and what exciting new dish have you made with these new ingredients?
Well, it's again wonderful to be here. Congratulations on the book. It's incredible. Just so honored to be included, and looking at the guest list is so wonderful to see people that are joining you that I know as well. So no, this is fantastic. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
In a kitchen, change is constant. It doesn't matter what day it is. You always have to evaluate your changes, adapt to them, and then act upon them to create the best possible performance you can. And it's always a case of, chef, the steaks didn't show up tonight, or chef, the dishwasher quit, or chef, that party just increased by 20 people, or chef, you have incurable cancer and you only have a few years to live. Yeah. Now that was a situation that it came down to evaluate, adapt, and act. You know, considering those things, I had to look and bring my recipe of change together. Is what could I pull from my cookbook to make that final dish, that grand finale, to put a wonderful finish to a delicious and well savored life. And a recipe is made up of different things. First, a recipe is made up of ingredients. And so I looked at the ingredients that I had in my life. I looked at my values, my goals, my relationships, my dreams, my family, my friends. And some of those ingredients were okay. Some of them were great. Some of them were kind of crappy and had to be thrown out. Some of them had to be reworked, but they all came together. And the wonderful thing about it is change is a great cleanser. And all those emotions that have been built up, tarnished and grime and preconceptions over years, over in a lifetime, they get stripped down to nothing, which is incredible. And all of a sudden you learn the new meaning of words like humility and compassion, love, gratitude. They all take on completely new meanings. So you have all these ingredients that you can work with. And then you look at the tools that you can continue with as well. You look at your family and your friends. I have my wife, my sister, everybody here, that's on. My two brothers are on here as well. I saw that as well. Everybody, they rallied together. I had talented medical people that were able to put me together well enough to be able to carry out this recipe. I found a group of people in this quarantine kitchen that I created. All of a sudden, we have 10,000 people just creating this island of support and warmth. And I associated with another group, the Christine B Foundation, that I'm able to give back to people that experienced a lot of the same things I did. So I had my tools and I had my ingredients, but then I realized the most important part is the procedure. Because every single one of us have different ingredients. Every single one of us have different tools. And we might have thousands of ingredients or two. We might have thousands of tools or one, but it's how we bring them together that's going to determine the flavor of our final recipe, the result of our recipe of change. Now, I found my recipe. I was content knowing that when I shut off the lights to the kitchen and hung up my apron for the last time, that I'd found the recipe and I was content. But then I get some news. Turned out the restaurant wasn't closing. Recently, I had some surgery that, well, it erased the expiration date on my birth certificate. And instead of a few years to live, I have my entire life to go ahead. And so now, this recipe of change that was before going to be for that grand finale, I can now apply it to the whole menu. And that is the key to the recipe of change right there. Take your ingredients, take your equipment, and make the best possible result you can with it.
Well, a wonderful, wonderful recipe, and even more wonderful that you are here to tell us about that, and that you're going to be here for a very long time, please God, to continue to share your wonderful recipes with us, and everything that you do to help and support other people now with cancer. And you're incredible, and I love you, and I really, really do appreciate you. Do you feel that others could create a recipe for change in their lives?
I do 100%. And again, as I said, everyone has ingredients. Everyone has the tools, and it's how you bring them together. It's the heart that you mix them together with that determines the final flavor. And if the heart is there, and it's just going to be delicious. You can't help it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Brian, I love you. Thank you so much for being here
Thank
today.
you.
And I really, you know that I only wish you the best of health and everything. And I really, really hope that we're going to be together very, very soon.
We will be soon. Absolutely.
I hope so. I do hope so. So I think time for another poll question. And again, it is a multiple choice. And it is, how has COVID or lockdown changed you? Has it given you a better appreciation of relationships? Are you more fearful? Has it changed your priorities? Are you less likely to take risks? Do you seek to live healthier? Multiple choice answers. Let's have your answers now. Very interested to see how COVID or lockdown has changed you. And can we see the results? Okay, so coming out on top is a better appreciation of relationships, 72%. Changes in priorities is, seek to live healthier is 69%. I never could do maths. 68% is changes in priorities, 14% more fearful, and down at the bottom there is less likely to take risks at 11%. Very interesting. One of the chapters in my book, of course, refers to dealing with change through a pandemic. And I am most interested to hear when you read that book and read that chapter as well, what would happen in terms of for you and sharing your experience. So we were going to be joined today as well by a friend of mine who was actually introduced to me by my youngest brother-in-law, who I know is here today, Patrick Ross. And Brian is my younger brother-in-law, Patrick is the youngest. And he actually went to high school with this lady. And he introduced us because he thought that we would have things in common, and we certainly did. he was absolutely right. So how incredible to think that, you know, I'm introduced to a person who's a friend from high school of my brother-in-law, and now that she is involved with my book. You will see that she very kindly wrote a review. Now, I'm not certain that Barbara Ann Cookson has been able to join us. Is she here? Yes, she is. Yay! I'm so thrilled. That's fantastic. Barbara Ann, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Barbara Ann Cookson is the superhero speaker and author. Author of A Superhero, You Activate Your Unstoppable Powers. Barbara Ann is my superhero, and she is a speaker. She is a teacher, helping women to turn on the superhero powers that they were born with. So Barbara, I'm so pleased that you're here, Barbara Ann. And people will see on the screen that you have my beloved Annette's name. We clearly had problems getting you into the meeting. So this is Barbara Ann Cookson. It isn't Annette Anderson, in case you're tuning in and thinking, that doesn't look like Alicia's house. Although I have to say that Barbara Ann is rather gorgeous too. And, Barbara Ann.
Oh my goodness, good morning. Or good afternoon where you are. It's morning here, and I apologize for the technical glitches. I'm in under the wrong name, but I'm here and I'm so excited.
You're in. That is the most important thing.
I'm in and I'm so excited. And first of all, thank you for including me. I am thrilled and excited for you, for this book to be birthed into the world and to be part of this global launch. The book is absolutely amazing. The review I wrote, I can't remember exactly what I wrote, but I do remember saying that I felt like I was sitting in the living room with you having a cup of coffee as you told me this story. Your book will help so many people. It is right in alignment with what I teach and what I speak about with communication, with change, and with growth. And I'm just so proud to be a part of this.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And it is a thrill for me. And I so appreciate your support and your love and your incredible energy and enthusiasm. So I'm delighted that you are here and that you are on this journey. And I do have to thank Patrick for introducing us, because he was so right. You know, that was such a lovely, lovely connection. And so, you know, I just can't get over, you know, that he went to high school with you and now here we are. And that you're a friend of mine now too. So Let me ask you, you are the superhero speaker. You are the author of that book, A Superhero, You Activate Your Unstoppable Powers. So how does a superhero communicate?
Well, first, let me define what I mean by a superhero, because it means so many different things for so many people. And the way I define a superhero is you're a superhero if you show up every single moment like you're supposed to be there and do your best every day, which may or may not be the same every day. My best today might be 110%. My best tomorrow may not be that, and it's okay. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be the best and top notch every single moment, and that's just not reality. So for me, being a superhero is just showing up to be your best in every moment, like you're supposed to be there. And in my book, I teach a lot about powers and innate powers that we all are born with that sometimes we forget we have. And your book also talks about those powers, and some of them overlap. And I loved that when I read your book. One of the powers that I'd like to kind of focus on with you, in my book, I talk about 8 powers, and one of them is really important for communication, and that's the power of awareness. And the book goes into, my book goes into a lot of detail about awareness. And as a speaker, you know me, Alicia, and I can talk all day.
And
So
I'm not going to give you that opportunity. I'm so sorry.
no, I know. So I have to tone it down. I know. But for the purposes of communication, the big part of awareness that I'd like to share is the awareness of our language. We need to be aware of what we say and what we think, because it all has energy. And whatever we say, and even what we think, putting that out into the world is putting that energy out into the world. And to communicate as a superhero, I believe strongly that we need to communicate and come from a place of love, always. And that's the big message that I like to talk about and to teach and to share. And I loved in your book that you specifically got to language in the chapter about dealing with a family member with dementia. And you talked about how important our language is with those family members. And that's what it gets down to. It come from a place of love and be aware of your language. And the other, just one more little thing I'd like to share is that the language we put out into the world, we also have to be aware of the self-talk and the language that we direct at ourselves. And that needs to come from a place of love as well.
Yes, yes, you're absolutely right. And indeed, there is that overlap between what you are saying and what's in my book too. That, I do speak about how I know it may seem trite, but you do have to love yourself. And you do have to be easy on yourself as well and not hard on yourself. And that's particularly in situations of change, situations of trauma. Accepting that you are going through something where there is a lot of emotions that you are experiencing, and acknowledging them and accepting and being able to not beat yourself up, because maybe it's taking you a long time to come to terms with all of those feelings and emotions. So terrific, Barbara, and thank you so much. It really does resonate with me, and I'm sure with our listeners and viewers today, because it is so much how we speak to ourselves as well as how we speak to others. Also find in my book that part of communication is not only what we say, but it's about listening too, and being very aware, as you've just said, being aware in being observant, and yes, being in that moment too, which actually Brian touched upon too, and Wendy. So very much being in the moment, and really listening to yourself, as well as talking to yourself with very positive words and with love.
Absolutely.
Barbara, and I'm so thrilled that you're here, and delighted that you are in Team Alicia. You're my superhero.
Me too. I can't thank you enough, and huge congratulations for you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I believe actually that the top that you're wearing has the motif on it that says "Be Love." Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Terrific. Be love.
That's
I love
the big
that
message.
It certainly is. And there's a lot of love today, which I am feeling and appreciating so very much.
Wow.
Thank you all. Now, I had thought that our next speaker actually wasn't going to be with us in person today. He actually is. He sneaked in, but I'm going to show you a video that he prepared for us today, and I would be delighted if that could be shared. It is from Gavin Sharp, United Kingdom qualified psychotherapist, Riviera Wellbeing. And Nazanin, could you start that video for us now?
Hello, my name is Gavin Sharp, and I'm a UK qualified psychotherapist based in Monaco. and I work with individuals and couples both locally and across the globe. So this evening, first things first, Alicia Sedgwick, congratulations! I am so thrilled and happy for you on this publication of your first book. And I stress first because I have a sneaky feeling it won't be your last. So no pressure, Alicia, but when's the second one due? Now I have a confession to make, that when I heard you were writing about change, I got a little excited. Now, as a therapist, please let me stress that my excitement was appropriate. It was adult, it was boundaried and consensual, but it was excitement. And it was excitement because if ever there was a time when all of us could benefit from learning more about change and how to manage change, I think that time is now. And I don't know about you, but I found the last 12 months of this pandemic to be an emotional roller coaster. And I think we've all been tested. So this book, which gives us an opportunity to see how you, Alicia, have managed the changes in your life, is so welcome. And by the way, I hope it doesn't sound preachy if I can also say that I think it takes such courage to be vulnerable, to expose yourself in a book, and to share with us your journey and your struggles. So I guess I wanted to say well done, and I also wanted to say thank you, because your book will touch so many people. And I guess one of the last things I wanted to say, that why I'm so passionate about change, is because as a therapist, there is so much change that occurs in my therapy room every single day. Because I think change is about loss, and loss is about endings. How do we make sense of endings? I struggle sometimes to make sense of endings, whether it's the ending of a certain period, a chapter in our life, or it's the ending of a specific relationship, romantic relationship, work relationship. And again, as a therapist, one of the things that where I'm trying to facilitate with my clients is to work through grief, to work through the different stages of loss. And those stages can be the traditional stages of loss, the anger, the denial, depression, all of the things that come with loss. So I think it's such a pertinent topic and so appropriate for this time. So Alicia, I'm sorry I couldn't be with you live this evening. I have every confidence that not only is this launch going to be a success, but your book will be a great success. Again, thanks for having the courage for bringing it to all of us. I wish you all the luck. I'm so proud to be, well, I was about to say, I'm so proud to be your friend, but you know, maybe I'm being presumptuous, but I think I can say I'm proud to be your friend. We work together professionally, and I'm really excited to be associated with you and this book. Well done, congratulations, and may there be many, many more Alicia Sedgwick productions. Thanks, and good luck tonight.
Oh, thank you, Gavin, so very much. Now, Gavin thought that he was going to be working this evening and that he couldn't join us. I'm not sure, Rainer, if you can find Gavin amongst our audience this afternoon, and whether or not, Gavin, you can come off mic. I would just say that if Rainer has any difficulty finding you, oh, there you are, fantastic, fantastic. Let me say immediately, Gavin, I am honoured to call you my friend, and you have enhanced my life, and I've enjoyed our working together, I've enjoyed our playing together, and I'm so delighted that you are here tonight in person, sharing the event, an unexpected bonus for me.
Well, I'm so happy that I'm not happy that our client couldn't make it, but I'm happy it gave me the opportunity to be with you and to be with your esteemed colleagues. And I think I said it all on the video, but I'm just going to emphasize that there is just, this really is the time for all of us to learn. And we're all learning, whether in my chair or your chair, to learn about change. How do we make sense of what we're going through? And we've still got so much more to go through. And your book will touch so many people because you're talking about experiences that we all face, relationships, the job changes. You've spoken so movingly, and one of your guests spoken about, facing cancer. I have a parent with dementia. There are so many parts of that book that resonated with me and will resonate with others. So well done again, Alicia. And I feel really happy because I've actually got to speak twice tonight. So that really appeals to my ego and my narcissistic self that I got to appear live and in camera. I'm really, really thrilled. Congrats, Alicia.
Thank you so much. Yes, double whammy of Gavin, and now get off camera. So, so thank you so much. Can I just remind our viewers tonight that if you do have any questions for me or for our speakers, please write them in the chat and put question and who it's for. We'll be delighted to take your questions. And write in the chat to everyone, but put question and who it's for, because we will have some Q&A towards the end of the afternoon and the event. Yes, Nazanin is just writing in the chat about the questions. Put question in front and who it's for. We'll be delighted to receive your questions. I'm loving your comments, actually. I am looking at them as we're going on. So thank you all so much. I'm feeling the love. I really, really appreciate too that so many of you are actually buying the book too. Fabulous. Now, Gavin talked about loss, and my book, Communicating Through Change, it talks about change through bereavement, one on losing a sibling and one on losing parents. And you will read about how my brother died when I was 18 and he was 15. Sorry, he was 18 and I was 15. You see, I still get tongue-tied about that because it is so emotional for me even now, several years later. And there is also a chapter on bereavement to do with parents and on my parents actually dying in less than 2 years of each other. And each of my chapters has communication exercises to help you through the particular change. And Gavin mentioned in his video about the stages and feelings on loss, such as anger, guilt, helplessness, despair. I have a Heal Your Heart exercise in the chapter about bereavement, parents. And I write about recognizing any of those feelings and more. I write about guilt, regret, shame, anger, resentment, anxiety, helplessness, insecurity, fear, and physical symptoms as well, such as fatigue, nausea, sickness, weight loss or gain. And I write about recognizing those feelings and how it is normal for you to feel them. And it is perfectly acceptable for you to take your time to work through them. As one of the affirmations says at the end of the chapter, because I do have affirmations at the end of each chapter too, to kind of re-emphasize everything that I have been teaching you or helping you to learn as you communicate your way through change. The affirmation is, I take one day at a time. I take one day at a time. And I think that that is a very, very relevant affirmation for lots of experiences of change, because you can take your time, and don't beat yourself up or feel bad if you're taking a long time or what seems to be a long time. As I mentioned in the chapter about bereavement relating to my parents, I think that it was a good couple of years that I spent crying my way through airports, restaurants, cafes, and anything that I do in my life because I missed mum and dad so very, very much. And it was only really after a couple of years that I began to come through the fog of loss. So please take one day at a time. Now, our last guest speaker today, but certainly not least, is somebody very dear to me who has been a tremendous support. You may have read her article in Good News Monaco recently, just last week, which was beautifully written. Nancy Heslin is the editor-in-chief of Forbes Monaco, and she is the creator of Good News Monaco. Nancy, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for your incredible support for my book and of me.
Well, Alicia, this is better than watching Netflix. I mean, Brian's making me cry. Barbara Ann's talking about superheroes. You're giving us this book release, which is fantastic and the whole community needs. So I think we should start season 1 with you now.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm in talks with Netflix as we speak, negotiating a deal. I wish. Yeah. So, Nancy, let me ask you, you launched a passion project called Good News Monaco to shift the focus from COVID fact and figure related news to sharing positive stories about real people. What led you to this?
So as Gavin was talking about the last year dealing with COVID, I would say that we sort of all collapsed into a COVID sinkhole last March. And for me, that meant that news was constantly changing. And as a journalist, I was writing every day, all day, 3 a.m. As a journalist, I feel a huge responsibility to my community. And Brian touched about that on community and heart and things like that. And I take that really seriously, as I do the brand of Forbes. Forbes is not a local daily newsletter. We have 7 million, we are part of the Forbes family. So we have 7 million readers and we have 71 million unique visitors to the Forbes site every month. So I feel a lot more pressure of the type of quality and making sure what I deliver is news. And I found, like, after last summer, I just wasn't motivated to write a word. And I learned that willpower is finite. I have a huge amount of discipline, but my willpower was just gone. I felt as if I was a car stalled at a green light, and I had deadlines and interviews honking behind me, and I couldn't get my car to start. So I wish I'd had your book at that moment, because it would have helped me with some of the lessons lessons that you've given. It's amazing. But I paid a little visit to my emotional mechanic, and I asked myself, what is going on? Do I need to make a big change, or is something just need to be like a tune-up? And I realized that my integrity with COVID had really been compromised. And you asked a question about, have your priorities changed? So I really looked at my priorities as a news writer. And I came up with a few things, if you'll just indulge me for a second, but it's all about, as Barbara Ann was saying, about communication. One of the things that I have promised myself is to stop producing, I knew this would happen, sorry. Stop producing, sorry.
Well, Nancy's dog is communicating very effectively for us now.
To stop producing solicitous headlines. I think that we have become a society that is much more interested in how many people click on an article as to how many people are informed about the news. So I fall victim to this. I've written that Prince Charles got COVID after meeting Prince Albert. I can't help it. It's from in my People magazine days, I write these kind of headlines, and I've made a conscious decision to no longer do that. The second thing I did was anticipating COVID lockdown in the fall. I created Good News Monaco because I feel that we need to share positive stories. People cannot absorb any more bad news right now. And on the site, as I did with your article, the headlines are only people's names or the name of a business. Now, before everybody goes and jumps on the site and says you're lying because the first article you ever published was body found in Larvado. Okay, that happened as a scoop and before I really got this movement going. But Good News Monaco is a change, and everybody can find this in their lives. It allows me to have a platform to be true to who I am. And that means that I am a highly compassionate writer. I am very gifted at sharing stories of hope, other people's stories of hope with community as a base. And it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of time, but as your book points out, change is work and change is a commitment. And I just want to say that the other thing that we really need to look at is this idea of human beings, that we have to be peaceful consciousness. We have to be kind in the way we talk to each other. We have to be kind in the way we communicate with each other. And maybe as a journalist, this is going to be impossible for me, and I'm never going to win a Pulitzer Prize. But I think it's really important for people that read the news and see the news to make conscious efforts also to change what you want as content. And so I haven't made the big changes like some of the issues that you deal with in your amazing book. I mean, it really is a book that people need to have as a reference for when you can't just get that cognitive change yourself. This is the book you need to read, but we all need to continue to change. It's the only way we can move forward, and community is so, so important. And Alicia, we are lucky that you are part of our community.
Oh, Nancy, thank you so much. And you are indeed a very gifted writer and full of compassion. And I love you and I thank you so very much. And I'm reading in the chat as you were speaking that, you know, people really appreciate your Good News Monaco. And that delights me because I really appreciate it too. And I love that you commented with my book. You said that I created a new genre, which was self-change. And I really believe that too. You mentioned about being true to yourself. And I think that it's so important that we are true to ourselves, that we are authentically ourselves. And there is that in my book too.
If I can just add that, Alicia, I think that's what makes your book so unique, is that people that look for, people that shy away from help or people that shy away from change, they can use your words because they are so personal, so precise, so well written, without making people feel that they need to be embarrassed about their own situation. They have you to hold their hand and go, you can get through this. And it's with the small changes. So bravo to you.
Thank you so much. Yes, I embrace my readers and I embrace you all today too. Thank you so much, Nancy. You know, my book, Communicating Through Change, that's the book. It is available on Amazon all over the world as a paperback and on Kindle. And for a limited time, there is a special offer on the Kindle version. It is 99 cents or 99 pence. Please buy it. Please read it and enjoy it. And then write a review. Just 2 or 3 lines or 2 or 3 sentences on Amazon, please. And if you do that, you will receive a gift from me to help you communicate effectively. So just to reiterate, it's on Kindle, on Amazon. You can download it. Limited offer of 99p, 99 cents. And it's available on in paperback on Amazon all over the world, and you can buy it. And I'm reading in the chat that most of you have already bought it, some of you in triplicate, and I adore you for doing that. Thank you so very much. If you could write the review on Amazon, it just needs to be a positive, constructive review, please. And it's only short, 2 or 3 sentences, 2 or 3 lines. And if you do that and let me know that you've done that, you can email me, you can get in touch with me through Facebook, Also my website, there's three W's, three W's, www.aliciasedgwick.com. And then I will send you a little gift from me. Now, I'm not sure if there are any questions in the chat. Nazanin, are you aware of any questions?
Yes, we do. We have 5 questions, but really 4 because 2 are the same. So
Okay.
I'm going to put them in the chat so everybody sees them, but I'll also read them to you, Alicia.
Thank you.
So the first one's for you, and it's from, ooh, I lost it. 1 second. I posted it and it didn't go through. So let me see why it didn't go through. There you go. So from Matt Beaton, who I recognize. Hi, Matt. So the question is, will we be able to get this fabulous book on Audible so I can gift this to some of the people in my business who have long commutes and use the time to listen and learn to amazing people like you? And Miles has asked the same question. Have you considered doing an audio version for the Audible? Alicia, your voice would be perfect to read it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Miles. Thank you for being here. And thank you for your love and support. I am thinking about doing an Audible book. There is a possibility of that, just as there's a possibility, if it sells well in other countries, that it will be translated into other languages too. But what I'm thinking is that before it is Audible, that I will be doing videos. I'll continue to do videos and maybe blogs which are just audio, so that I can read from the book and also give training from the book for people to listen to, yes, when they're in the car or on their earpods. So yes, I am thinking about that. Really, it was a question of seeing, how successful the launch of the written book is, and then we can see about other outlets. But thank you so much for thinking of that, and it definitely is on my radar. But until then, look out for the videos and the interviews as well, where they are audio. Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, so the next question is from Adam, and actually he's reposted it in the chat, but since other people have already written something, I'll post it right now again. So he's got a 3-part question. So let's start with the first part. Alicia, what has been the major setbacks during your writings? Any disasters or meltdowns? Take us through it.
I love that question. Yes, probably the meltdowns have been on punctuation, and and Wendy will probably bear that out. I think that actually one challenge for me was to get out of my head and to get back to my heart. Because that was the first writing, that it was very, very much from my heart, from my personal experience, expressing my vulnerability and the rawness in that, which I wanted to do and is there in the book, to show that there is strength in vulnerability. But there were times when, I was a lawyer for many years, and as Gavin will know, because he was a lawyer too, and we have shared this, it makes you think in a particular way, and it makes you be a particular person. And it was very important for me that when I came to live in France and be with my beloved Annette, that I wasn't that person. But occasionally, she creeps back in, and she crept back in when I was writing the book, and I needed to dispel her. And it was on those occasions that I referred to Wendy, and and I said, "Oh, she's there," and I feel blocked, and she helped me to get back to my heart, and in doing that, it cleared that challenge and that particular meltdown as well. So thank you very much for that question. I noticed actually in the chat, and just briefly, that Tanya, you mentioned something about Tanya Hughes, that you mentioned something about you get frustrated with my that I said about taking one day at a time. I don't know, Nazanin, if you can find that comment for me.
Yeah, it's just a question right before it, so I'll put it now from Tanya. So it says, you say take one day at a time. I get very frustrated with that and despondent when I just can't get things done quick enough or at all. Any advice, please?
Yes, definitely. You know, this is something that I address in my book. I think that we tend to forget that we are human beings and not human doings. So really, Tanya, and listeners today and viewers, really what is so important that you have to get it done and that you have to do. Let's get back to our priorities, to what really is important to us. And most of all, let's consider and not forget that we are human beings. We are not human doings. Just be. So I am going to stay on later. I'm conscious that we are running out of time. I am going to stay on. Thank you, Tanya. I hope that helps. I hope that the book, Communicating Through Change, is really going to help everyone. You know, I think that what is so good about the book is that even if you haven't experienced some of the changes that I write about now, maybe somebody that you know and love is experiencing that, or at a later stage, you will experience it and you will know that you can go back to the book and refer to it, and you will have the lessons that I have learned and the communication exercises to help you cope and deal with the changes. Now, my book is launching today, Communicating Through Change. I just want to give some thanks because, as I've mentioned throughout this event, it wouldn't have been possible because of without the help of a lot of people. First of all, and probably foremost, I want to thank my beloved Annette. Her constant and incredible support is amazing. She is amazeballs. Thank you, Annette. I love you more than words can ever say. And none of this actually would be possible without you. I also want to thank all of our speakers today. You are wonderful. Thank you for your contribution to my book. Thank you for your contribution to this event. Thank you for being part of my life and enhancing my life. And I want to thank Nazanin and Rainer and your support and your help with this event. Really, we couldn't have done it without you. Thank you so, so much. And I want to thank all of you for your amazing and incredible love, care, and for sharing with me the changes in my life and the huge change of me being an author. Can't believe that I'm saying that. I'd like you, please, to raise your glasses, raise your cups, raise your mugs, or whatever you have to hand. The toast is to Communicating Through Change. May it be an international bestseller and may it help everyone all over the world. Ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, cheers. The toast is Communicating Through Change. Thank you all so, so much. Cheers. Oh, wonderful, 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 wonderful. Now, if you would like to stay on and talk to me, I'm very, very happy for you to do that. Otherwise, you can leave a note in the chat and I will look at that chat. I'm going to record that so that I can look back on it. If you want to stay on and talk to me, please do. Otherwise, get buying, get reading, and then reviewing on Amazon my book. I love you all. Thank you so much. And I really, really do appreciate each and every one of you. I love you. Thank you.
Congratulations, love.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. It's absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Janet. Cheers to you. Cheers to everyone. Thank you. Your pride in me is really, really appreciated. Lovely to see your faces now too. Great. Thank you. You're all amazing.